Welcome once again. My name is Zahir Akram of Akram Yoga Studios. If you're interested, we are based in the sunniest part of the UK, which is Surrey. Today's video attempts to tackle the most difficult question of all. Well, it's difficult for those who are caught up in the yoga world anyway. The question is, what is yoga? So before we begin, it's important for you to understand that what I'm telling you is completely my interpretation and understanding alone. I am not about to tell you what yoga is categorically. I'm not actually sure if anyone can give you that answer. But for those of you who have read my book, you will remember at the start of the book, I quote my wife, who in turn eloquently quoted Friedrich Nietzsche. There are no facts, only interpretations. So there are no facts, only interpretations. I ask that you take a moment to ponder these wise words before we start. Okay, so that's enough pondering. Let's get on with it. So in my humble opinion alone, there are really two types of yoga. I often repeat that, not that it's universally agreed upon, but I believe that this approach of dividing yoga into two groups helps us better understand the subject of yoga. The first type of yoga is a very religious type of yoga. In this particular form of yoga, the religious yoga, the yogi or the practitioner practices yoga as a means to be one with God. I appreciate for those of you in the know that it's not as simple as that, but in a nutshell, that is exactly what it is. This yogi believes that we are born from a particular source, and our purpose in life is to return to the source from which we have come. That is kind of paraphrasing Yogananda. So this type of yogi or practitioner doesn't do the birds of paradise yoga pose or the ragdoll pose. In fact, they don't really do much physical yoga at all. Most of their yoga revolves around penance, meditation, hymns, and chanting. When I say chanting, I'm not talking about the random chants that your yoga teacher makes you do in a yoga class as she rubs oil on your ears. I'm talking more of the kind of deep, meaningful chants that praise particular deities and gods. Most of the time, this particular god is Shiva, who is seen by many as being God himself. Again, I appreciate it's not always that straightforward, but I'm trying to make this as easy to understand as possible. If you asked this practitioner, this religious yogi or sadhu or holy man, what their favorite pose was, or what their favorite vinyasa music playlist is, or if they have seen the latest Lululemon range for men, you are likely to be met with a dry backhand. Okay, maybe not. Maybe, they're not going to do that. But their questions will be completely lost on you. And no, they haven't heard of yoga lattes either. To this particular yogi, this religious yogic practitioner, devotion, karma, which is the law of cause and effect, and prayer are means to achieve their goal of being one with or arriving to the presence of God. So there's two separate philosophies. One, you become one with God, or the other, that you arrive to the presence of God. It just depends on which philosophy you follow. I hope I haven't confused anyone. So the first type of yoga is a very religious type of yoga, and there are some people who say that that yoga is not a religion. But try saying that to one of these religious, holy sadhu yoga practitioners, and then arrive to your own conclusion. So we arrive to the second type of yoga, and that is physical yoga. We arrive closer to home. This is our Western yoga. Here we bend and jump and leap and turn upside down with the overall goal of generally improving our physical health. We go to yoga to feel better, and in turn we end up moving better. We move with more freedom, and our breathing becomes much more efficient. The poses, the physical poses that make up this physical yoga, have evolved from a handful of seated poses that many of these religious yogis did in India many centuries ago. There is even an argument to be made of how yogic our modern day yoga poses are, but I won't go there. Well, not today anyway. So there you have it. It's very black and white in my eyes. There are two types of yoga. There is religious yoga and there is physical yoga. But hang on, there is also a third type of yoga. This third type of yoga is the person or the yoga teacher who is likely to say something like they are an Indian trapped in a Westerner's body. This yoga person has zero idea who they really are. They are wholeheartedly immersed in modern physical yoga poses, but for some reason they feel they should adopt as many traits of this religious yoga as they can, as many Hindu traits or Indian traits. They try to be as Indian as they possibly can. Why? I have no idea. Maybe it makes them feel better. Maybe it continues this kind of illusion that they want to create as in front of their students for how yogic they are. Maybe it gives them a sense of belonging. And there was this idea as well that many people create this illusion because they don't want to turn their attention inwards and find their true nature. Many people would rather be someone else and act like someone else than seek their authentic nature. I mean, it's a deep-rooted psychological problem. I have many theories as to why these people behave in this way, but that and those theories I will probably share with you at a later time. So, what is yoga? Yoga has been understood by some as being the science of self-realization. This is what the religious yogi aims to achieve. Through his penance and prayer, he will stumble upon his true nature, this true nature of his that is not clouded by illusion, and he will experience a moment of enlightenment and become one with or arrive to the abode of Shiva, with God. Self-realization is also a theme for the Western yogic practitioner, like you and I. Through the various poses, you start to get a much clearer picture of who you are and what you're really capable of. I mean, we might be fearful of poses at first, we might feel anxious before headstands, etc. But you know, we create this kind of armor, we try to protect ourselves. But after a while, by kind of throwing caution to the wind, we realize that these poses are not as inaccessible as we thought, and we start to slowly embrace them, accept them, and through the willingness to try, we start to realize who we really are and what we're really made of. We're not these pathetic, miserable little creatures that we've acted like for so long. We are unique and we are capable of so much more, and yoga helps us kind of stumble upon this. Now, the third yogi is yoga self-realization for them. This yogi from the West who embarrasses them, well, I think they embarrass themselves as they chant in a language they don't really understand in their own accents. They pronounce everything horribly. Is yoga self-realization? I know it should be, but ironically, these people are further from yoga than they could possibly know. And if this person teaches yoga, how can this particular yogi teach yoga, the science of self-realization, when they have no idea who they are themselves? This yogi, their life is a desperate game of dress up, and they spend their whole life looking for acceptance, and the really sad thing is it never comes. So there you have it. In my opinion, the true yogi is someone who walks past you every day. You have no idea who they are. You have no idea they do yoga. Why would you? They don't need to dress up or tell you how they danced wildly last night to Bollywood songs or how often they visit India. The real yogi has realized who they are and is happy being who they are, regardless of how they looked and regardless of how they are perceived by others. They don't need others' approval. That is the real yogi in my eyes. So to summarize, what is yoga? Yoga is looking for and then discovering who you really are. And who you really are, well, you won't find the answers in Bali or in Mysore. The discovery of who you really are begins by searching within, by turning your focus inwards. Thank you so much for listening. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below. Namaste.